Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this opportunity, my group, which consists of Naufal Abian Elias, A320200102, Dava Ivana Mustaqim, A320200111, and Muhammad Alfat Rafif Yumna, A320200148, will present the chapter 11. What's wrong with indoctrination and brainwashing? Introduction. One of the peculiarities of philosophical writing on education is that as much space seems to be taken up exploring what education is not as examining what it is. Most texts on the subject include extended discussion of the differences between education and a host of similar but non-educational concepts that can take place in schools, such as training, preparation, and most commonly of all, indoctrination. The term indoctrination has, generally speaking, strong pejorative associations. This has not always been the case. Until the second half of the 20th century, indoctrination was understood as no more offensive than concepts like education or teaching. Dictionaries generally define indoctrination in a neutral way, emphasizing the transmission of doctrines or beliefs. However, in educational and political debates, indoctrination is usually used as a derogatory term. A wide range of subjects and practices have been tarred with the brush of indoctrination. Teaching left-wing politics, Horowitz, 2007, teaching free market economics, Chomsky, 2003, citizenship education, Flew, 2000, and peace studies, Scruton et al., 1985. However, by far, the most popular target for the charge of indoctrination is religious-based schooling. Religious instruction seems to have been singled out because its critics say it contravenes two of the principal aims of education, at least in modern liberal societies. The first aim is open-mindedness. To be open-minded about something is not to have made up one's mind or to have made it firmly, so says Gardner, 1993, on page 42. The second aim is autonomy, which leads people to make and act on well-formed and well-thought-out judgments about how to live their own lives. Spoken at Brighthouse, 2006, by page 14. A telling example of the religious teaching as indoctrination argument is provided by Barrow and Woods on 2006 in An Introduction to the Philosophy of Education. They open their chapters on indoctrination with a description of a Catholic school in which all the teachers are committed Catholics, where all children are from Catholic homes, and where the whole school is openly committed to nurturing children in the Catholic faith and an unshakable commitment to the truth of Catholicism. Page 17. The authors close their account of the school with these words: "It is difficult to conceive of anyone seriously doubting that these teachers are indoctrinating." Page 66. Now, let's come to the problem of indoctrination. Life would honestly be intolerable if we do not follow at least some conventions and common practices. Of course, some practices, such as those labeled as matters of etiquette, are sometimes mocked at for being rather quaint and old-fashioned. Social life depends on and assumes the acceptance of a complex set of conventions. Without them, humans would have to resort to negotiating every new situation afresh and would risk the risk of social breakdown. So, it seems reasonable to argue that young people need to learn the convention of their social setting. After the family, the school is probably the primary context in which children are socialized. Students spend tens of thousands of hours at school during the period of development when most values and social behaviors become established. And of course, without rules, regulations, and routines, school itself would be chaotic. Now, there are a number of ways of bringing up people to accept their views. I shall list off the extreme examples of these. The threat of death, for example, is a historically popular approach in a macabre way. Another widely used method of forcing compliance is the threat or use of torture. There is an especially vivid portrayal of torture and its rationale in the novel of 1984 by George Orwell that says, "Shall I teach you why we have brought you here? To cure you, to make you sane. Will you understand, Winston, that no one whom we bring to this place ever leaves our hand uncured? We are not interested in those stupid crimes that you have committed. The party is not interested in the overt act. The thought is all we care about." Not the overt act, but the thought, the notion, the indoctrination. The act of curing itself is revealing and it highlights a vitally important point in this discussion. Perpetrators of extreme social control methods are not necessarily acting out of malice. They might be thinking in what they think are the interests of their victim.